Walford has seen lies, betrayal, and heartbreak, but nothing like this. Tonight, the woman once branded a villain stands at the edge of redemption. Suki Panesar, the matriarch who ruled her family through fear, is about to make the most dangerous decision of her life. After years of broken trust and sleepless guilt, she dreams of something pure, a new beginning with Eve Unwin, the woman who saw her pain when no one else did. But in Walford, redemption has a price. When whispers spread that Suki wants to adopt a child, her own blood turns against her. Secrets resurface, loyalties fracture, and what begins as hope soon spirals into a storm of judgment and betrayal. Because in this square, every act of love hides a sin. If you want to uncover the full story of how Suki's dream turns into her darkest test, yet make sure to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This one changes everything. The Albert pub seemed like a harmless place to unwind, but for Suki Panesar, tonight was far from ordinary. The air was thick with chatter, laughter, and the faint clink of glasses, yet every sound felt like a countdown to judgment. She sat across from Eve, her heart a mixture of hope and dread. After years of heartbreak, Eve's words cut through the fog of guilt. "I want us to adopt. I want us to build a family together." For a moment, Suki's mind blanked. Could she dare imagine a life beyond her past? Could she truly become the mother she never thought she could be? The possibilities danced before her like mirages, bedtime stories, laughter echoing through number 31. Tiny shoes left by the doorway. And yet, in the shadows, her history lurked, a history that refused to forgive. Suki's thoughts were interrupted. She had almost forgotten that in Walford, privacy was a myth. Priya, ever sharp-eyed, noticed Suki browsing adoption forums. She didn't ask politely. She was accused. And like wildfire, whispers spread to the rest of the Panesar family. Old wounds tore open. Memories of Suki's controlling past and mistakes with her other children were dragged into the light. Every argument, every betrayal she had ever caused was weaponized against her. And yet, Suki held on to the fragile thread of hope that Eve's love provided. She retreated to number 31, seeking solace. In the quiet of the kitchen, she whispered to herself, "I've changed. I can be better. I can do this." But change in Walford is never simple. The Panesars weren't the only obstacles. The shadows of doubt reached further. Neighbors, gossip, and even the square itself seemed poised to question her every move. Flashbacks hit her. Years of fighting, losing, trying to mend broken bonds. Each child she had struggled with, each lie and betrayal, replayed like a haunting film in her mind. And with every memory, her resolve wavered. Eve, sensing the storm, held Suki's hand. "We'll face them together," she said. And for the first time in years, Suki felt the possibility of strength in partnership. But strength alone wouldn't silence the chorus of judgment. Meanwhile, across the square, rumors twisted reality. Friends and family debated Suki's intentions, questioning whether her dream of adoption was genuine or reckless. Some whispered, others shouted. The past had a long memory, and it hung over Suki like a storm cloud threatening to drown her hope. Suki's journey wasn't just about winning approval, it was a test of her own self-belief. Could she prove that her past didn't define her future? Could she rise above the shadow of mistakes and embrace the chance at love, at motherhood, at a life she had never dared to dream? Every day became a battlefield of emotions. Doubt clawed at her. Fear whispered lies in the dark. But alongside Eve, she glimpsed what could be a fragile, beautiful life. And as Walford's night sky darkened, the tension thickened. Every knock on the door, every text, every whispered conversation could tip the scales. Suki had to decide, succumb to the weight of judgment, or fight for the family she longed for. Days turned into sleepless nights. Suki found herself wandering through number 31, imagining a baby's laughter bouncing off the walls, imagining Eve reading bedtime stories, imagining a future untouched by past failures. But reality was ruthless. Priya confronted her again, this time with tears. "I just don't want you to get hurt," she said. But hurt was already woven into the fabric of Suki's life. Family love had always been conditional, and the whispers of disapproval were relentless. Yet, in the quiet moments, Eve's belief never wavered. Every gesture, every gentle word, every smile reminded Suki of the person she wanted to be. Someone worthy, someone brave, someone ready to embrace motherhood against all odds. Then came the pivotal night. The Panesar family gathered, ostensibly to talk, but in reality, to judge. Voices rose, accusations were hurled, and the room crackled with tension. It was a moment that could shatter Suki, or forge her into someone stronger than ever before. In the middle of chaos, Suki took a deep breath. Memories of betrayal and failure lingered, but so did hope. She stood tall, facing her family, her voice steady. "I'm not the same person I was. I've made mistakes, yes, but I've learned, I've changed, and I deserve a chance at this, with Eve, with a child, with love." Silence. The room seemed to hold its breath. Some Panesars softened, some stiffened, but a seed of doubt had been challenged. Suki had spoken her truth, and in doing so, reclaimed a piece of herself. That night, Suki and Eve sat together in number 31. The storm outside raged, but inside, for the first time in years, there was calm. Hope had survived judgment. Love had survived fear. And the possibility of a new life, fragile, yet undeniable, hung between them. But Walford is never done. Old enemies, hidden secrets, and the unrelenting gaze of a town that refuses to forget loomed in the distance. Every step forward would be tested, every choice scrutinized. Suki knew the path ahead would not be easy, but with Eve by her side, she might finally step into the light she had long been denied. And as the night deepened, a quiet resolve settled over her. The past may have shaped her, but it would not define her. She would fight, she would love, she would rise, because in Walford, sometimes the greatest battles are fought not in the streets, but within the heart. Days in Walford blurred into restless nights. Every knock on the door, every passing glance from neighbors, reminded Suki that her past wasn't done with her. Memories she had tried to bury clawed their way back. She saw herself, years ago, young, controlling, desperate to hold her family together, even if it meant hurting them. The fights, the tears, the accusations, each replayed in vivid, cruel detail. Suki's mind was a labyrinth of regret and longing. She remembered how her children had recoiled from her, how trust had once shattered like glass in her own home. And yet, amid the ruins, she remembered Eve's unwavering gaze, the one that said, "I see the real you, the one worth loving." Flashback. A heated argument with Kieran, one of her children, echoes, "You'll never change, Mum. You've done too much damage." The words hit her again, but this time Suki didn't shrink. She had changed. She had to believe that. Back in the present, Priya's voice pierced the quiet of number 31. "Suki, I just don't know if this is right. Are you ready for a child? For real?" Suki looked at her, eyes glinting with determination. "Priya, I've spent my life hurting people I love. But this is different. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking for a chance." But even as she spoke, doubt lingered like a shadow in the corners of the room. Could she truly escape her past? Could she navigate the inevitable whispers, the judgment, the fear? Night after night, she and Eve planned quietly. They scrolled through adoption websites, imagining rooms painted in soft pastels, laughter filling the halls of number 31. And every time, Suki felt both exhilaration and terror, hope clashing with fear. Tension mounted as the Panesars prepared for a family meeting. Suki knew this confrontation would determine everything. Her family's harsh gaze felt heavier than steel. Words weren't just spoken, they were weapons, carefully crafted to wound. The living room was tense, voices raised, accusations flaring. "After everything, you think you can just start again?" Priya asked, tears streaming. "We've seen what you're capable of, Mum. How can we trust you now?" Suki's hands shook, but her voice did not falter. "I've made mistakes. I've lost trust. But I'm not the person I was. I love Eve, and I want to create something good for my family. Isn't that worth trying for?" Silence. For a moment, the storm paused. Then slowly, the tension shifted. Some family members softened, uncertain glances replacing anger. But the road ahead was still treacherous. Walford never forgot, and the world outside their walls was unforgiving. Flashback. A younger Suki sits in her bedroom, clutching a letter she never sent, filled with apologies she couldn't voice. "I've failed. I can't fix this. Not yet." That failure had defined her for years, but now she was determined to rewrite her story. Days became weeks. Suki faced small battles every day, skeptical neighbors, cautious friends, and her own nagging self-doubt. Yet every time she faltered, Eve's hand on hers reminded her she wasn't alone. One evening, as rain poured over Walford, Suki stood at the window of number 31, gazing at the streets below. "I will not let my past dictate my future," she whispered. The rain tapped like a drumbeat of possibility. Every drop mirrored her heartbeat fast, anxious yet alive with hope. Then came a breakthrough. A call from the adoption agency. They wanted to meet with Suki and Eve. Her heart pounded, a mixture of fear and exhilaration. Every step forward was heavy, but it was real. This was her chance. But Walford is never easy. Shadows lurked in corners, old friends who remembered every misstep, neighbors ready to judge, the ever-watchful gaze of family who still doubted her. And yet, in the quiet moments with Eve, Suki felt something she hadn't dared to feel in years. Freedom. Flashback. Suki holding her children as they argued. Tears streamed down her face, a mix of anger, regret, and helplessness. The memory hurt, but it fueled her determination. "I can do better. I must do better." And then, a new challenge arose unexpectedly, silent yet threatening. Gossip spread across the square like wildfire. Faces she had trusted now cast skeptical eyes. Every conversation was laced with doubt. Could she withstand this? Could she protect the hope she had begun to nurture with Eve? That night, Suki and Eve sat together in the dim light of number 31. Shadows played across the walls, echoing past regrets, but also the possibility of a brighter tomorrow. Suki whispered, "If we get through this, it will be because we chose love over fear, hope over judgment." Eve squeezed her hand. "We will, together." And for the first time in years, Suki felt that maybe, just maybe, the darkness could finally lift. But Walford has a way of testing even the strongest hearts. Every step toward motherhood, every dream nurtured quietly in number 31, would be met with scrutiny, judgment, and whispers. Suki knew that, and yet she was ready. Because some battles are fought not with fists or words, but with courage. And Suki, scarred but unbroken, was prepared to fight for her chance at love, family, and redemption.